I'm not sure. If I was a student today, would I want to enter the airline industry? No, I wouldn't. It's a stupid industry. Historically, it has lost more money than it has ever created, ever generated. And the people who are stuck in it are like dysfunctional people like me who couldn't get a job in a properly functioning industry in the first place anyway. So if I was a student today, I'd be learning how to design websites and front-end mobile apps and all the rest of it. No, because that's where we're hiring those like they're going out of fashion, and they're more important to us now than pilots, because digital will, certainly for the next 10 years, is going to revolutionise everything. And to come back to the previous question, the whole Chinese threat is overrated. 20 years ago, everybody was worried about Japan. Geez, we'll all be speaking Japanese in 20 years' time. Because the Japanese can build radios cheaper than us and all the rest. And yet you find, in America, they continue to innovate. America continues to be the strongest economy in the world. Yes, the Chinese have cheaper labour, but they'll have lots of political problems in the next 15 to 20 years. Silicon Valley is in the States. It's not in China. It's not in Japan. And so I think actually the political system, which has its flaws in America, but does fundamentally create and reward enterprise and innovation, is still the model that looks more likely to succeed. For students, if you're going to enter the airline industry, please understand the airline industry is full of gone beans. It's generally the people who are running most of the airlines. Most of them are running airlines because they were pilots. And I never understand why so many airlines put pilots in charge of the airlines. They put a doctor in charge of the hospital. You should be down doing the operations, not running the bloody hospital. You put the accountants in charge of the hospital and keep the doctors in the operating theatres, which is where they belong. And a bit like the airlines, you should put accountants in charge of the airline and keep the pilots flying the airplanes, because that's about all they can manage to do. But the airline industry, if you do join it, is ripe for innovation and creative thinking, because it is so hidebound by practices that date back to the end of the First World War. We still have pilots wearing peak caps with gold braid and bars on their shoulders. Why? Because the only people who could fly after the First World War were the Mellons and the Carnegies, who all got off the Lusitania or the Titanic just in time. They would do a bit of floor to five, the original Pan Am Clipper class, and landing in the sea in foils. It was only for the very rich 1%, and it always bothered me. They never handled their baggage because they had people who did that for them at the port site in wherever it was, New York and Portsmouth and all the rest of it. And I've always been struck in our business, why do we take bags from you on departure, only to give them back to you on arrival? Unless, of course, you flew British Airways, in which case 50% of you will never see the bag ever again. And there is no other form of transport that does that. You get in a train, you hump your own bag and stick it up there. You bus, you bring your own bag. Why do we do this? And we do it because that's the way flying started after the First World War. And nobody's had an intelligent idea in the airline industry until about 5 years ago, when we were the first people to decide, why don't we charge for those checked-in bags? Not because we want your money, we don't. We just don't want your checked-in bags. We have an average flight time of 1 hour. Most people, 80% of passengers are checking in a bag to go on a 1 hour flight. Why is this? And what's remarkable is that the simple thing of charging people for the checked-in bags, we've now gone from 80% of passengers checking in a bag down to 20% of passengers checking in a bag, which means we have very few bags, we need very few check-in desks, we need very few baggage handlers. We've closed the lost bag departments because we carry so few bags, we can't possibly lose them anyway.
So innovation is still possible.
Innovation is possible by coming at an industry that is hidebound with stupid rules that have been in place since the First World War, and just asking some intelligent questions. Why do we do these stupid things, and why can't we change it? So it's not all we need radical technology changes, it just needs the application of a bit of common sense.